General, over to you.
Thank you, Lawrence. Distinguished delegates, esteemed colleagues, and honored guests. I'm glad to be amongst you for the Shangri Dialogue 2025, and I'm particularly pleased to be part of this special session on defense innovation solutions for future challenges, as it allows me to share my thoughts on the subject of paramount importance: how innovation and defense capabilities can address the evolving security challenges of our times. It's interesting as India and the Indian Armed Forces are currently dealing with this particular challenge. Predicting the future is perilous, to say the least. All what we can do is to talk about trends, actually. I believe the future challenges that we may face arise out of the complexity of emerging geopolitical dynamics and the unprecedented acceleration in the march of technology. Let me focus on the military aspects arising out of these two trends, which are changing, I believe, the nature as well as character of warfare. Today, the rise of unmanned systems and do-it-yourself kind of kit for warfare is reducing the economic and human cost of warfare, leading to increasing propensity to use of force. This is happening without formal declaration of wars. The emergence of non-kinetic means, especially in the domain of cyber or information domain, also provides wider options to impose one's will on and to attain politico-military objectives, thus adding to this proclivity. Instability in the world is on the rise, courtesy non-state actors and terrorists. They play a major role in providing the spark for conflicts. The democratization of cutting-edge technologies and the resultant proliferation of weapon systems is empowering non-state players. Today, netizens, citizens in today's deeply interconnected world have the capacity to shape thoughts, perception, and hence the environment. The option of nation-states using the above for waging proxy war comes at a time when human and economic cost thereby adding to rising instability. Some of these spiral out of control, leading to conflicts. Technology is reshaping warfare, wars, and warfighting. I see four major trends in this particular regard. First, the maturing of sensor technology and their proliferation in the domain of land, air, sea, and space has led to increased transparency and situational awareness. Today, non-linear simultaneous operations are impacting the core principles of war, like surprise and concentration of force, throwing up new ideas like demassification of the battlefield and deception over surprise. The transition of weapon systems from subsonic to supersonic, hypersonic, long-range precision weapons, and maturing of stealth technologies, fractional orbital bombardment systems, and drones with spawn technologies are giving celerity, that speed and velocity, a new meaning, enabling engagements of targets anywhere and anytime. Unmanned and autonomous systems, along with the concept of man-unmanned teaming and the advancement in robotics, may soon introduce the concept of combat between man and machines, or even between machines and machines, gradually leading to intelligent and automated kill chains. And fourthly, artificial intelligence, machine learning, large language models, edge computing will enable better data analytics and decision-making. This is leading to intelligentization of warfare. Quantum technologies are enabling secure communication and advancing computing, which will add to the complexity of warfare and hence the challenges for preparing for them. The emergence of new domains of warfare, information, cyber, electromagnetic spectrum, and the cognitive domain, are fast blurring traditional lines of conflict and increasing the potential for unconventional attacks and hybrid warfare. Talking about innovation, I have often actually quoted Charles Darwin, who in his original work, Origin of Species, had identified 5 issues for any species to survive. They were variation, inheritance, selection, timing, and adaptation. What applies to organisms, I believe, also applies to organizations. Whatever is static, unyielding, and unadaptable is vulnerable to extinction. Well, Charles Darwin spoke about the past, how past has transformed into the present, but in today's seminar, we are actually talking about the future. And in future, if we have to survive, I may add three more I's. That is to be inventive, innovative, and ingenious. Allow me to talk about the methods, how we have adopted this in India. We have opened up defense manufacturing to private sector, thus creating a competitive environment which has promoted indigenous research and development, encouraged innovation, increased defense production, and reduced foreign dependency, and promoted economic growth. India's strength lies in its academia. We produce the largest number of STEM graduates. STEM stands for Science, Technology, Engineering, and Mathematics in the whole world. And our IITs, Indian Institute of Technologies, have made a mark globally. So what we have done is we brought our defense research and development, startups, MSMEs, and academia under one platform under programs like Innovation for Defense Excellence, IDEX. Now, friends, foreign countries also pitch their challenges for defense innovation to the Indian academia and research institutes. So if you have a problem, you can tell Indians. We are simplifying our procurement procedures so that we are able to fight today's war with tomorrow's technology rather than yesterday's weapon systems. Aligning our procurement cycle with technological cycle is hence important. We in India are also attempting to pursue a tactics-led approach toward modernization to some measure that was also referred to the German CDS, and in which tactics training procedures are not being modified to suit platforms, but rather all this is being to identify and create platforms but that is suited for our tactics, geography, and peculiarities of our adversaries. We have also opened up a future operation analysis group in the Ministry of Defense. This has been created to analyze how future battlefield will evolve owing to technological advancements and their applications in all domains of warfare, and recommend a path for a future research and development so that Indian Armed Forces can be future ready. As we look towards the future, we recognize that meaningful innovation must extend beyond hardware to encompass organizational structures, decision-making processes, and human resource development. The true potential of emerging technologies can only be realized through corresponding innovations in doctrines and organization cultures. To conclude, India remains committed to contributing towards global peace and security through responsible behavior. A unique geographical position, historical experience, and development aspirations inform our approach to addressing security challenges. We believe that forums such as this dialogue are essential for fostering understanding and cooperation in our collective pursuit for peace and stability in the world. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for hearing.
Thank you very much, General, for those comprehensive remarks.
Let me answer this question about integrated theatre commands, an experiment which India is likely to implement. Ever since CDS was appointed in our country, and there was a lot of hopes, and one of my major tasks was to create the spirit of jointness in the services and physically integrate a number of processes in the three services which we are doing slightly differently and in a standalone kind of manner. It's been 2.5 years now, and we've achieved some modicum amount of success in this particular endeavor of ours, and some of it was exhibited during the recently concluded operation, in which at least we had this joint planning, joint intelligence, joint working together, logistics, etc. All this were brought into one fold, and this application of force was done in a joint kind of a manner. There cannot be any timelines for creation of this integrated theatre commands. We've learned from our friends and partners, and this particular event also will throw up a few lessons for all the three services, and so some of them maybe draw different kind of lessons. We got to still reconcile. It's just about a few weeks from this operation. And we'll have a look at how did it play out, what were the shortcomings, and then we'll create something which is workable and more which is India-centric, which looks after Indian requirements. So that we will do shortly. Talking about strategic stability, what India has done is politically they have drawn a new red lines of their tolerance against terror. And this, I hope, this particular operation, it's a basically lying in military domain. So that should bring about some lessons for our adversary also, and hopefully they learn. that this is a limit of India's tolerance. Means we've been subjected to this proxy war on terror for the past almost about 2 decades, or maybe more, and we've lost a lot of people, and we want to put an end to it. So hopefully, strategic stability, to bring about strategic stability, it requires two hands to clap together, to join together. Hopefully, they understand this, and we can then look at things differently. We had one more question as to what were the kind of lessons which we had drawn from this particular conflict. You know that in this particular conflict, we have not only indigenous systems which were fielded in this conflict, but equipment from vast number of countries. Means India doesn't depend on one nation for its defense needs. So it's a number of capabilities which were put together, and most of these capabilities were put to good effects, the results of which were visible, the evidence of which was demonstrated, and most of these systems actually function quite well. It will be difficult to comment at this particular point of time the equipment which was used by the other side, the capabilities of that equipment. But you're aware that we were able to penetrate the air defenses as long as 300 kilometers with point accuracy and target airfields and infrastructure deep inside Pakistan. So that indicates the functionality of the equipment. So, but a lot of work still needs to be done as to what was used and how what happened in this. Talking about strategic stability, what India has done is politically they have drawn a new red lines of their tolerance against terror. And this, I hope, this particular operation, it's basically lying in military domain. So that should bring about some lessons for our adversary also, and hopefully they learn that this is a limit of India's tolerance. Means we've been subjected to this proxy war on terror for the past almost about 2 decades, or maybe more, and we've lost a lot of people, and we want to put an end to it. So hopefully, strategic stability, to bring about strategic stability, it requires two hands to clap together, to join together. Hopefully, they understand this, and we can then look at things differently. We had one more question as to what were the kind of lessons which we had drawn from this particular conflict. You know that in this particular conflict, we have not only indigenous systems which were fielded in this conflict, but equipment from vast number of countries. Means India doesn't depend on one nation for its defense needs. So it's a number of capabilities which were put together, and most of these capabilities were put to good effects, the results of which were visible, the evidence of which was demonstrated, and most of these systems actually function quite well. It will be difficult to comment at this particular point of time the equipment which was used by the other side, the capabilities of that equipment. But you're aware that we were able to penetrate the air defenses as long as 300 kilometers with point accuracy and target airfields and infrastructure deep inside Pakistan. So that indicates the functionality of the equipment. So, but a lot of work still needs to be done as to what was used and how what happened in this.
Thank you, General. Thank you. General Chauhan, I might turn to you first.
Okay. Let me try and answer this first question the young gentleman had said about human resource. This is going to be an important factor. When I joined the armed forces, probably physical fitness, I'm an infantry officer. So physical fitness and firing are the hallmark. These are two things. If you did this well, you are a good soldier. No longer today. You have to be a cyber expert today. You should have some information technology skills. That's becoming essential. So some people may be, a large number of soldiers today in an infantry battalion should be able to fly drones today. So you require different kind of skill sets, and this is changing very fast. And if we have similar kind of rules and structures to recruit and train people, then we will not be able to cope up with this. In India, we've recently experimented with a new system of recruitment, which is known as Agnipath, that is trial by fire. and which we get soldiers only for about 4 years. And thereafter about retain some percentage out of it and then send back people into the environment. So every time we get young people with fresh thoughts and minds, rather than having the same soldiers earlier days, which used to work for about, serve for about 17 or 20 years and then go home. So we have simpler kind of soldiers. So we have to have a right mix of experience and young blood and young thought process. So this, I think, is important, and it's important for all armed forces. The question about defense partnership with the Americans and the success of INDEX, I think I briefly mentioned only the Indian part of it, that IDEX program, in which we involve the academia, and briefly I also mentioned it when answering one of the questions. So INDEX is one program in which we are collaborating with the Americans, and they have the defense industry problems are then put up for the Indian academia, and for Indians, which we see that two problems we have given to the Americans. So those problems have been given to the industry, and now people will look at those kind of solutions, and then we'll shortlist companies out of that. So this is where we are, but this is what I'd offered also, that since we have a large pool of STEM graduates, people who are university graduates, who may not have an idea of warfare, but yet they can think differently and produce some kind of a solution. So that, I think, is important.
Thank you, General. I might turn to Mr. Zelenko.